Okay, folks, hello again. My name is Matt Seamer, and I'll be hosting you today on another QuickBooks tutorial. Today we're going to go over bank reconciliation, which I've been hearing from people is something they'd like to see, so, well, let's do it. Um, okay, so you'll see I've got QuickBooks pulled up here already, and to get started, I'm going to go to my chart of accounts. Again, I think I've mentioned before, chart of accounts really I consider the home base for QuickBooks. This is a screen that I think you can do the most things from, and so I'm on this screen a lot. Okay, so to get started, oh, I'll also say the process, this bank reconciliation can basically work. Well, first of all, let me back up again. Um, I consider reconciling with your bank statement to be pretty much the most important thing you can do on a monthly basis, because that statements that you receive from the bank are basically going to help ensure that you've kept track of everything accurately, all your income and your expenses. So I make that the number one priority for um, any business that I'm keeping the books on, and so should you, really. And I'll also say further, well, actually that goes not only for checking account statements, but also any company credit cards, any loan accounts, um, anything like that. You should be reconciling statements at least on a monthly basis when they send them out, if not more often than that, by using online banking. But I'll also say, just for your record keeping purposes, you really should be, you know, folks, don't pay cash for things and don't use a personal credit card to buy things for your business because it only makes trouble for you or for your accountant, um, because the only way you can claim expenses for things that you pay cash for is if you have a receipt for them. Whereas if you're using checks or you're using your credit card, then you've got a statement to, number one, back up and give you proof that, yes, I spent this money. And two, it reminds you of that. Whereas if you buy something for cash, if you are out and get lunch at McDonald's and then you pay cash and you lose that receipt, you completely forget about the money you spent, which may not sound like a big deal, but if you're doing that 50 or 100 times a year, you're throwing away a lot of money in real business expenses and tax deductions. So um, I'll get down from my soapbox, but that's my lecture for today. Um, okay, on with the reconciling. So to get started, we're going to go into the checking account by double clicking. And then to bring up the reconcile process, I can do one of two things. I can either right click anywhere on the screen and go to reconcile here, or I can also go up to the banking menu and choose reconcile here. So I'm just going to go on and do that. Okay, so that brings up this little reconcile window. Um, So first off, the first field up here is the account, and that's basically asking us what account do we want to reconcile. And we're already in the account that we want to, which is checking, but if you wanted to switch for some reason, like go to the credit card, then we could do that as well. Okay, but checking is what we want. This informs us that our last reconcile date was July 31st, which is helpful to know if it's, like I said, you should be reconciling at least on a monthly basis, if not more often. But if it's been a while and you forget which statement was the last that you used, QuickBooks can remind you like that. Okay, so now the first field we've got to deal with is the statement date, and that would be the ending date on the bank statement that we have. So I've got um, over here, I've got a bank statement to use for these um, for this tutorial, and sorry it doesn't have any of my confidential information or social security number on it, so um, you're out of luck if you're trying to steal from me. um, okay, but so up here you'll see on the statement our statement dates, and that's August 1st which matches up with what we had. QuickBooks said we last reconciled on 7/31. So this statement covers August 1st through September 3rd. So September 3rd is the ending date that we want, and for some reason QuickBooks has quite intelligently already filled that out, but we'll pretend that wasn't there and I'll type it in again. Okay? Um, so next line, beginning balance. This is important to check too. You want to make sure that what you've got in QuickBooks for your last reconciled balance matches what's on the bank statement. So we're going to check this number out here, and I'll just tell you too, if your number does not, if this number for you does not match what's on the bank statement, I don't really have time to get into that today because that can be a messy situation, but we'll just leave it at this and say that if it doesn't match, then you've made a mistake somewhere in the past or deleted a transaction or something that's caused the balance to be off. So you'll need to discover the root of that error. But okay, we're going to check and make sure that the balance on our checking account statement matches what is in QuickBooks. 13,341.27, and it does. That's our previous balance here, so that's good. And so now we're going to take the current balance and or the ending balance of this statement and enter that into QuickBooks. So we're going to go back here, and QuickBooks must be a mind reader. Not actually. I've already reconciled this statement before, but we're doing it again for your benefit on this video. So 12,774.87, I think. Yes. Okay. All right. So those are the two main fields that we need for today. To do our reconcile. The service charge and the interest earned, I ignore those fields. I don't use them when I'm reconciling. So we're going to go forward and hit the continue button. Okay, and this brings up this brings up the main reconcile window, and what this is showing you here is these are all the checks and payments that QuickBooks shows as uncleared right now. And then over here in this window are all the deposits and credits that it shows being unclear right now. Okay. Now you might sometimes you'll see this as a pretty big window, and if it's been a while since you've last reconciled a statement, you could have this entire window full of checks and deposits that haven't been clear, and you can, if that's the case, you'll be able to scroll down and go through and find everything that you need to. And I'll just give you a little quick hint here. This isn't going to be very helpful for this particular situation, but if you did have a case where it had been a couple months since you last reconciled, if you only wanted to see transactions in that particular time period rather than seeing, all, dozens and dozens or hundreds and hundreds of different transactions, QuickBooks can be a big help if you just check this box here that says show only transactions on or before the statement ending date. So that will filter out everything after, in our case, September 3rd. Okay, so let's go ahead and stop there and move right along to part number 2 of the QuickBooks tutorial on bank reconciling.